last week or so, National Assembly approves bill imposing life imprisonment for Nigerian drug traffickers. What is your thoughts on that? Is it something that is it a welcome idea to you, or the criminals deserve drug criminals deserve worse than this?
No, that was, I think they deserve less than the time. I'm not in support, and I'm not an advocate of death penalty for drug use. As far as I'm concerned, legislation has to be with reference to what is good for Nigeria, not some other country. In the USA now, you hear Donald Trump say America first. We should also have Nigeria first. And in talking about Nigeria first, we should look at the impact of every activity over which legislation is going to proceed. We don't have such an overwhelming drug problem in Nigeria that must be met with a death penalty. Majority of the very serious drug issues are in transit. Nigeria is more like a transit nation for the high drugs like cocaine and others. We do not have such a serious drug problem in the country that has to be met with a death penalty. And we have a penchant for going overboard every time an issue comes. We were discussing on this platform before issues of child molestation, sexual child molestation, and others, where death penalty, some states were prescribing death penalty. And we said, even as worse as some of these things are, we should carefully consider a lot of things. By the way, you are aware that death penalty has been abolished even for murder. In many countries, EU and a lot of countries have abolished it, even when culpable homicide is concerned. So when you talk of drug abuse, as bad as it is, we know the problem is causing, the drug trade is causing devastation in some countries, and even a little bit of it in Nigeria. But it has not escalated to a position or point where we must meet it with a death penalty. Severe imprisonment, for me, will be sufficient deterrent. In any case, there is nowhere in the world that death penalty has served as a deterrent for serious crime. The issue of drug trafficking, like
Barrister, we're not talking. This one is not a death penalty. This is life imprisonment.
Sorry. Okay, we got it wrong. The life imprisonment itself. As far as I'm concerned, the death penalty and life imprisonment are like twins. They are not much different to me. If you go into the can where you cannot come out, it's virtually it's not very far from the death penalty. The penalty, life imprisonment, is too harsh for drug offenses. That's what I'm trying to drive at. It's too high. A number of years imprisonment should be okay. But the point I was trying to make is, even if it was a death penalty, it's not going to serve as a deterrent for the fact that the drug trade, there is so much money and so much attraction to it, because you do one courier and you make so much money from it that the attraction is so much that even with the death penalty, people, it will not serve much as a deterrent. Just like death penalty has not served as a deterrent in other issues. And we also know that even from prison, drug laws do operate, even from prison.
Yeah.
We should devise a lot of other methods together with punishment as a means to tackle a drug problem, which I am yet to see as threatening the live wire of Nigeria. No, it has not
Anyway,
reached that level.
anyway, I think we have discussed this thing in the past. I think a distant past. We've talked about this issue of um, uh, drug, either imprisonment or death sentence, and I think we both agree that both are too harsh. And I think I remember stating that I this issue of drug of a thing, it takes two to tango. Because the buyer the seller cannot sell without
If
demand.
there is no buyer,
Yeah, if there is no
or no
demand, there will be no supply. So um, if it takes two to tango, so why punishing one side? That's the point. Because one side, it is the business is thriving because of the demand. You just talked about how lucrative. You just mentioned how lucrative it is. Because as a result of that, people don't mind taking that risk because people will always say, "Well, after all, now something will kill somebody somehow."
exactly.
So they rather take that risk. Some people will say, "Okay, I rather die a brave man than die a coward." Some people will say, "I'd rather die trying at least." Instead of not even trying and just poverty kills me. So it's sort of so different. Everybody has different mindset. But the truth is that my own opinion, I remember we stated this on our previous show that I don't even the imprisonment, long imprisonment for drug peddlers, criminals. Honestly, I don't subscribe to that. Like I said, I just like in the U.S. now. Honestly, it is ridiculous. It is stupid for you to consider drug addicts as as sick people. In US, that is unfortunately they don't consider like in Nigeria. Nigeria, drug addicts are criminals, right? You are a lawyer. Are they criminals? Drug if you are caught with an addict.
As criminals.
Sorry.
Yeah. They don't look at them as sick people, they are looked at as pure criminals
Correct. That
who
is
are
that is
only meant for prison instead of rehabilitation.
correct. God bless you. That is the way it ought to be. In the US, the reverse is the case. I don't understand. That is very, very irrational. Drug addicts are pitied. They pamper them. They sympathize with them. They in fact they consider it as health issue. They just consider it as mental health issue. Honestly, that is the crazy part, and that is why the business is thriving. I think US is the highest, have the among the highest in the world. Where you have, of course, what do you have? I think the statistics says that I think about 100,000 dies, over 100,000 dies annually over drug addiction.
But you have seen that there's no death penalty or life imprisonment penalty for drug dealing in the US.
Yeah, that's the
Where
point.
the most impact.
That's
But look at
where it has more worst impact. Honestly, that's the point. You see, and you know, there's no punish. This is why it is increasing in the US because anyone on drug in this country, people just sympathize with that person and kind of empathize with him or her and consider him or her as a sick person that deserves or requires medical attention. I don't get it because the truth is, before addiction, I keep telling people something. Before addiction, addiction don't just come. Nobody is born or was born with addiction. Addiction, that's why they call it addiction. Addiction, there is a foundation that leads to addiction. You laid a foundation and you started building upon that foundation, block upon block, block upon block, block upon block until it becomes a complete building. And now the person becomes addicted, finding it difficult to quit. and you are calling, the government says this person is sick, the person needs our attention, needs our pity, needs medical attention. For God's sake, how did the person get to that point, that addicted area point? So that is my frustration on this issue of this, especially this U.S. policy. So I don't understand, because you started something. Why did you have to start something in the first place? People like us, we don't drink, we don't smoke. Why? Because I dare not even. I don't have the I dare not start it at all. Don't even start. Why going into something that you don't, there is news everywhere that this thing is bad, yet you want to you chose to go into that. And now it becomes a problem, a thorn in your flesh. And people says you are sick and not a criminal. Look, this issue of life sentence for drug, honestly, it is wrong. I don't. It is absolutely wrong. I expect government to punish both the buyers and the sellers. Their punishment should be or whatever. Thank God Nigeria is like that too. The moment you are caught smoking, what do you call it, marijuana?
Cannabis.
Yes, you go to jail as well. So here it's been even legalized in some states. Some states, in fact, the states where I reside is a legal thing. People just smoke the thing anyhow. Huh? So that is just the point here. It is crazy. It is crazy, honestly.
When we discussed the issue of life sentence on this platform,
yeah,
it was in relation to sexual offenses. There was a particular case that you brought up.
A doctor, yes.
A doctor in Lagos.
Yes.
Who was alleged to have had sex with the sister of the wife.
Yes, sister-in-law.
Sister-in-law who was 16 years old.
Yes.
That doctor was sentenced to life imprisonment. And like I said at that time, he was one of only 3 doctors in his field in the whole Nigeria.
Okay, yeah, I remember that situation.
At the field. Yeah. Thankfully, this week, the Court of Appeal has discharged and acquitted him.
Oh, great.
And he has been discharged and acquitted by the Court of Appeal.
Wow, really? Oh, that's good. That's
in
good
the aftermath of
because we remember that. I remember that time we were against him being no, I think we supported him being prosecuted, but if he did that,
no, we did not support the life imprisonment.
Life imprisonment, yeah. I think that was
such an offense.
Yeah.
A 16-year-old girl that was big enough that evidence showed that she had been sleeping with other people.
Willingly, yeah, correct. Yes.
Willingly.
Willingly, yeah. Yeah.
And then the wife tried to capitalize on it when she knew it. She said,
yeah, correct. Yeah,
I had to exploit the husband.
Yeah, I think I remember the
I'll
story
keep quiet.
Now.
And then when the husband refused to, a wife that had children with him.
Yeah, anyway, thank God. Thank God the guy has gotten justice. We thank God for that, because I remember then, because the guy he's supposed to be an asset to Nigeria,
exactly,
or for Nigeria or whatever. But thank God he's out anyway. Yes. So and honestly, this life imprisonment for drug peddlers, it is wrong, absolutely wrong. It should be reduced. That's just my opinion. And both sides should be held accountable, both the buyer and the seller. And that's just my thought.